What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another FPL video on the channel. And in today's one, we are going to be looking at my game week 13 transfer plans, and if each and every single one of you could smash that like button, that would be absolutely fantastic. But I'm gonna be honest, guys, I'm in a really good mood because, as you guys already know, we are coming off the back of a sensational green arrow. And to be honest with you, the job's not done. The game week for me is not over because at the time of recording, right, I'm recording this on a Sunday morning, so I've still got Bukayo Saka left to play, David Raya left to play, and my captain Brian Mbeumo left to play, and I'm already sitting on a massive green arrow. So things are looking good at the moment. But listen, we're here to talk about game week 13. It's time to lock in. The job's not finished, but I already told you the redemption is on. I already told you it's a new era for me. It's a new era on this channel. We are going straight to the top. I'm telling you guys that already, so make sure you do invest in FPL Ryan stocks already if you haven't. Right, because I'm telling you, man, the comeback is well and truly on. But I'm excited. I'm very excited. So hopefully by the time you're watching this, Saka and Raya have done the job, and then obviously later on we'll be doing a watch along for Brian Mbeumo. So yeah, hopefully that all goes to plan. But now, like I said, bro, it's time to lock in. The job's not done. We still need to continue making the correct decisions, and that's what we're here to discuss today, right? So my plans for game week 13, and we have a lot of interesting things to discuss. But with that being said, right, I want to start off this video by having a look at what my current team does look like for game week 13. Now, as you guys can see, in goal we do have David Raya, who was a quite tough game against Chelsea away from home. Then we have a back three of Virgil van Dijk, Daniel Munoz and Senesi. And by the way, guys, I just want to let you know, I really do regret using my transfer to bring in Virgil van Dijk last week, man. Honestly, I deserve a slap for making such an awful decision. What on earth was I thinking, guys? Honestly, I already regret bringing in Virgil van Dijk, and I already just want to sell him, to be honest with you guys. Honestly, I just wish I decided to go with like another Arsenal defender, you know, a Urian Timber or a William Saliba. Why did I pick this absolute bum Virgil van Dijk, man? I don't know, but that Liverpool defense is awful. They don't fill me with any confidence whatsoever, and I just think I made a horrible mistake. But listen, I got to deal with it now. It is what it is. But I just wanted to let you guys know how much I really do regret taking out Gabriel and bringing in Virgil van Dijk, man. Why did I not just go for Saliba? I don't know. Anyway, listen, in midfield we do have Ismaila Sarr, Bukayo Saka, Enzo Fernandez, Brian Mbeumo, and Anton Semenyo, and then a front two of big boy Jean-Philippe Mateta and Erling Haaland. On the bench we do have Anderson and Rodon. So that's what my team is currently looking like for game week 13 with no transfers used. I would say it looks okay, but not the best this week in terms of, you know, how the fixtures align. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not feeling too confident in this team specifically for this week. You know, I've got Triple Palace up against Brian Mbeumo. I've got, you know, Enzo up against my David Raya in goal. It's not the best, but listen, it is what it is. We have to deal with it. There's no free hit for me to use because I've already played it. Now, speaking of chips, right, I do quickly want to touch on triple captain, because I'll be honest, chat, there is a very decent chance we do activate the triple captain chip this week, as Erling Haaland, right, is playing it at home against Leeds, and I think that's a fantastic game. We already know how good Erling Haaland is, and I wouldn't be surprised, right, if he bags a hat-trick in this game. I think minimum, as a bare minimum, he gets 2 goals in this game. So I think using my triple captain is a very smart play this week on Erling Haaland. Now, I do want to point out, right, there's also there's a couple of other weeks I'm looking at in terms of when to use my triple captain chip on Erling Haaland. Now, it's either this week in game week 13 against Leeds at home, or in game week 15 against Sunderland at home, or in game week 17 against West Ham at home. I think Sunderland, right, yes, they're quite good, but mainly at home. Sunderland, when they're playing away from home, it's night and day, right? It's night and day. They're much worse away from home as opposed to when they're playing in their own stadium at home, right? So I think Man City playing at home against Sunderland is very good for Haaland. And I think West Ham as well, that's also really good fixture for Haaland. I think West Ham defense is just so bad. It's so bad. Even in the last game against Bournemouth away from home, it was a 2-2 draw, but they got battered, right? They got battered from pillar to post. It was just, yeah, like, I don't know how Bournemouth didn't win that game. To be honest with you guys. So yeah, I really do like these games as well, but I am thinking to just sort of use it because I feel like Haaland is still really, you know, in form. He's still scoring goals. He's looking fresh. He's looking sharp. So I just feel like this is the right time to use it, to be honest with you guys. So like I said, there's a very good chance I do activate it this week and just sort of use it, get it out of the way and play it on Erling Haaland. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that really quickly. Now, another thing I want to speak on, guys, is my potential transfers for Game Week 13. Now, as you guys know, I've only got one free transfer, so we've not really got much flexibility. I've only got one transfer and 0.6 million in the bank, right? So, like I said, my flexibility with what I can really do this week isn't that high. But one transfer I really am considering, and you know, there's a player that's caught my eye. There's a player that I really do want to take a punt on, and his name is Phil Foden, right? I really do want Phil Foden for Game Week 13. I look at the run that Man City have, and I just feel like there is serious upside to this player, right? There is serious upside to this player. And if I was to bring in Phil Foden, right now I'm leaning towards taking out Anton Semenyo, right? That would be how I would get Phil Foden. I could also take out Bukayo Saka, but I don't think I really want to do that, to be honest with you. I think I'd rather take out Anton Semenyo. So right now I am thinking, right, I mean, I could just roll the transfer. In theory, I could just roll the transfer. I don't have to make a transfer. I don't have to take out Anton Semenyo because, you know, he is fit to play, right? We got confirmation that he actually missed the last game against West Ham because of illness, not because of injury. So yeah, I assume that he will be fit and available for the Sunderland game. But like I said, I think I just look at Phil Foden and he really is a player I do want. Now, first things first, let's just have a look at the fixtures for Phil Foden. And I know, like I said, this player does come with a massive risk, of course, right? But I just feel like the upside is there. Now, look, in terms of the fixtures, it's Leeds at home. It's a great fixture. Then Fulham away, I like it as well. Then Sunderland at home, I love that fixture. Crystal Palace away, this is quite tough, but this comes at a time of real fixture congestion for Crystal Palace. So they could be experiencing some fatigue at this point, and maybe even look to rotate at this point as well. So I don't think this might be as hard as you might think, just because of the fact that Crystal Palace at this point have just so many games, like every 3-4 days, right? So yeah, after the Palace game anyways, West Ham at home, I look at the fixtures from Game Week 13 to Game Week 17 specifically. Leeds at home, Sunderland at home, West Ham at home. Oh boy, I just think this is the time now for Phil Foden to just bang, right? That is what I think. It is just a gut feeling that I've got. Now, of course, it could go wrong. And one thing I do want to say quickly on Phil Foden is that Man City do have a Champions League game or in a couple of days against Bayer Leverkusen, I believe, at home. Now, if he starts that game, it is kind of going to put me off Phil Foden. I'm not going to lie, because I look at the fixtures and I look at sort of, again, how the fixtures are coming in quick succession. Like, for example, so Man City play Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. Then they play Leeds, and then there's another midweek game on the Tuesday, and then again 4 days later there's a game on Saturday against Sunderland. I just don't know if Phil Foden's going to play all of those games, and the slight risk of rotation, right, that is there with Phil Foden will put me off if he does start this Champions League game. However, if he doesn't start this Champions League game against Leverkusen, right, and he gets rested, then I do think he plays all these games. Leeds, Fulham, Sunderland, no problem, right? No problem. I do think he'll play those games. So, yeah, I'm really hoping that Foden gets benched in the Champions League, because then it will fill me with a lot more confidence that he'll get all starts in these games. Because, yeah, I just think, I feel like Foden is so explosive, and the potential for points is there. But at the same time, I need to be confident that he's going to start. But another thing that I want to touch on Phil Foden for me is, you know, his underlying data. And I think it's actually quite decent. Now, this is looking at his underlying data from Game Week 4 to 12. And the reason why I've chosen Game Week 4 to 12 specifically is because Foden did miss the first 3 games of the season, right? So from Game Weeks 4 to 12, this is his underlying data. In terms of non-pen expected goal involvement, you can see he's relatively up there. And actually, he's got more than Jacob Minte, right? In terms of non-pen expected goal involvement, racked up from Game Week 4 to now, right? He's actually got slightly more than Jacob Minte. And I think a lot of people would probably be looking at Jacob Minte as an option, because he's been providing, he's been doing really well in FPL, getting loads of assists, creating chances. And I think a lot of people would consider Minte a good pick in FPL. So the fact that Foden is sort of matching him or doing slightly better than him in terms of underlying data is positive. I think on the eye, what I see from Foden, I love, right? Even in the last game against Newcastle away from home, he had a big chance. He realistically should have scored, right? On another day, that does go in, but it's positive. I like that he's getting into those positions. I like that he's arriving in the box and getting those big chances. So yeah, I just look at the sort of the history of Phil Foden in terms of, you know, how explosive he can be. I look at sort of the fixtures coming up and how good they are. And then I just look at sort of Foden's form in football recently has been really good in my opinion. I feel like his performances has stepped up, and I feel like all that's missing is just increasing the rate at which he is getting the goals and assists. And I just feel like this is going to be the period now, right, where he gets the bulk of his attacking returns. I can see it happening, and that's why I want to take a punt on Phil Foden. So yeah, man, it's definitely something to think about. But I just know that I know the risk that comes with bringing in Phil Foden, and I just want him to start. I mean, in terms of his minutes though, like his minutes have been really, really good, to be fair to him. Like, you know, against Newcastle, 86 minutes played. Against Liverpool, 90 minutes played. Against Bournemouth, 89 minutes played. Against Villa, 90 minutes. Everton, 90. You guys can see, right? Since game week 4, since he played his first game, since he's played his first start, you can see here, like, he's pretty much got 90 minutes in all the games, which is absolutely insane. So he has actually been good for minutes. He has. And I think Pep has spoke about Foden sort of, you know, when he's getting into the flow of things, being able to play consecutive games, right? To be able to play game after game after game. Pep has said that Foden is more than capable of doing that. So, yeah, I'm just hoping, like I said, that Foden sort of gets rested in the Champions League, and then therefore, you know, that would fill me with a lot more confidence in terms of Foden, you know, playing the midweek game against Fulham coming up. But yeah, Foden definitely someone I'm looking to get. One thing I do want to point out though is that at the same time, as much as I want Foden, right, I don't feel like I have to sell Semenyo. It feels like a transfer that I don't really need to make. Yes, it's definitely an aggressive transfer. That's what I will say. It's definitely an aggressive transfer. And I think the fact that we get topped up with 5 free transfers in game week 16 is probably part of the reason as to why I sort of want to make this move and be more aggressive and go for someone like Phil Foden. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't really feel like I need to take out Semenyo again. Like, I mean, Sunderland away is not the best fixture, but then after that, you know, he's got Everton at home and then Chelsea at home. I think those 2 home games are really, really good for Bournemouth and Semenyo. So yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one because I still think Semenyo's a pretty decent pick, especially if he is fit. It feels like a bit of a luxury transfer, this one, but at the same time, again, like, I kind of feel obliged to use all my transfers by the time we get to game week 15 because, like I said, we get topped up with 5 free transfers. So yeah, this feels like a move that I don't necessarily have to do, but at the same time has such high upside, it may just be worth doing, especially because we get topped up with 5 free transfers. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I don't actually think Semenyo is like a bad pick, really, but I think there's potential that Foden is just a slightly better pick. So yeah, man, we're gonna have to wait and see. I will say though, like, Bukayo Saka is also someone I thought about taking out at one point, but I just thought, you know what, Bukayo Saka, he's probably a player that I would want back. And as we move into this Christmas period, I feel like he's a player that I can rely on for consistent starts and good minutes in the Premier League on penalties as well. So with Saka, because I feel like I'd want him back, I think I'd rather, yeah, just keep Saka, because I could actually, in theory, take out Saka for a Foden and keep Semenyo. But I think I do prefer Saka over Semenyo, to be totally honest with you guys. And I think I'd be more likely to bring Saka back in my team as opposed to bringing Semenyo back in my team. So yeah, because one thing I will say, and again, this is the reason why I'm choosing Semenyo, I think in the short term, I like Semenyo as a pick and I think he's good. I don't have to get rid of him. Like I said, he's got some good home games in game week 14, 15. Even United away is not bad. And then Burnley at home in 17. So you could argue up to from now up until 17, Semenyo is arguably a fine hold. But after that, you know, it's Brentford away, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, Spurs at home. I don't think it's too bad, to be fair. But then Brighton away and then Liverpool at home. Now, again, the way Liverpool are playing is actually not too bad. But as a whole, as a group of fixtures, you know, from game week 19 to game week 23, it's not necessarily ideal. And I'd probably be looking to move him out of my team anyway, you know, by game week, 18 or 19. So because of that, I feel like I wouldn't really want to bring Semenyo back in my team for this period, which is why, again, if I just get rid of him now earlier, it makes more sense to basically get rid of him instead of Saka, because with Saka, I'd want Saka back, right? I definitely want Saka back because Arsenal have some really, really good fixtures. For example, in game week 16 onwards, their fixtures look really, really good. So yeah, that's just, again, part of the reason why I'm choosing, to get rid of Semenyo ahead of Saka if I decide to make this move, because as I said, I could actually roll the transfer. But anyway, listen, enough of that, right? Enough of Phil Foden. What I wanted to quickly talk about as well now is sort of just my future transfer plans with my team and sort of where we're working towards and sort of what route we're trying to go down with my team. So let's head over to planfpl.com and yeah, just do some future planning. All right, guys, so let's have a look at some of the future plans with my FPL team. And of course, this is how the team does currently look for Game Week 13. But let's just say we do take out Semenyo and bring in Phil Foden. This is how the team would look. And yeah, I think it looks slightly better because obviously Foden's playing against Leeds at home, which is a nice fixture. But we move on into Game Week 14. We've got one free transfer, and I think the plan here is to just simply roll, man. I'll be honest. I think the plan is to roll. The team on paper looks very, very nice. In terms of captaincy for Game Week 13, for Game Week 14, it will probably just be on Erling Haaland. I don't think I'm going to take a risk with anyone else. I mean, I could do big boy Jean-Philippe Mateta against, Burnley away. I could do Saka against Brentford or Mbeumo against West Ham. But I think I'm just going to do Erling Haaland against Fulham, man. So yeah, that's how the team would look for Game Week 14. I think, yeah, it does look really, really nice, to be honest with you guys, which is good. Now on to Game Week 15. We've got two free transfers which I have to use. Well, I don't technically have to use them, but if I want to maximize the amount of transfers I have, then yeah, I have to use these two free transfers because in Game Week 16 we're going to get 5 free transfers, right? So with that being said, looking at my team, I'd say Senesi is an issue because I think the Bournemouth defence in terms of keeping clean sheets isn't necessarily amazing, and I think looking at the fixtures that that Bournemouth do have in, Game Week 15 onwards, Chelsea at home, United away, Burnley at home, Brentford away, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home. I mean, realistically, the only clean sheet game I see here for Senesi is Burnley at home. The rest of the games, I think they concede, right? Yeah, you could get some DEFCON, but I think this is a good time to take him out. Now, because at this point, I believe Newcastle play against Burnley. Yeah, Burnley at home. So I definitely want a Newcastle defender. Now, Livramento is back from injury, and so is Lewis Hall. I think Lewis Hall looked fantastic against Manchester City. Yeah, Man City. But I think because Livramento is slightly cheaper, I might just save a bit of money and go for Livramento against Burnley at home, which I like. Now, another transfer I might do with this team is actually Virgil van Dijk. Now, I'm going to be honest, like I said at the start of the video, right, I really do regret going for Virgil van Dijk. I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool do concede against Leeds away from home. I wouldn't be surprised if they concede against Brighton. I wouldn't be surprised if they concede against Spurs. Like, realistically, maybe Wolves at home and Leeds at home, they keep clean sheets, but yeah, I just don't like the Liverpool defence. Honestly, I really do regret bringing in Van Dijk. So one move I could do is actually take out Van Dijk and bring in William Saliba, right, and go back to double Arsenal defence. I think Saliba is definitely someone I would want in Game Week 16 anyway. Wolves at home, Everton away, Brighton at home, Villa at home, and just generally speaking, Arsenal are the best defence in the league by far, right? So double Arsenal defence is definitely something that I want, long term, with my team. So yeah, I'd be more than happy to go to someone like William Saliba. They're the two free transfers that I could do with my team for Game Week 15, and then like with those transfers, I think my team looks very, very nice, right? I really, really do like the look of it. So yeah, moving on now into Game Week 16. As you guys can see, we've been topped up with 5 free transfers. How greedy. So yeah, we have a lot to really play around with. Now, one thing I do want to say, right, I originally had a plan to look to bring in some Liverpool attackers, maybe an Ekitike or an Isak or a Gakpo, because Salah is going off to AFCON. But honestly, with the way Liverpool are playing right now, I just don't want any of their players. I really don't. I really, really don't. I don't want their defenders. I don't want their attackers. I just don't think they're really worth going for. So right now, I'd probably say, yeah, Liverpool, I'm probably just going to avoid them as a team. And another thing I do want to point out is I don't really want to use all 5 free transfers. Like, I do want to be very cautious and smart and maybe only use like 2 or 3 as a maximum, right? I don't want to just go and waste all the 5 free transfers straight away. So yeah, what I've got planned for Game Week 16 is to probably take out someone like big boy Jean-Philippe Mateta, And the reason I'm saying that is because, again, at this point, right, there is they have a lot of fixtures, right? A lot of fixtures. They've got cup games in between these Premier League games, and like I said, they play games like every 3 to 4 days. So I think getting rid of Mateta could potentially be a play. And he's playing against Man City at home, which isn't the greatest fixture. So if I do get rid of someone like Mateta, I could get someone like Thiago, who's got Leeds at home, and then after that, Wolves away, Bournemouth at home, Spurs at home, Everton away, Sunderland at home. These long-term games for Brentford look really, really good. So I don't mind Thiago as an option, and him being on penalties is fantastic because I'll tell you this from now, Brentford, I don't know how they do it, but they get penalties a lot. They get penalties a lot. So Thiago being the penalty takers is definitely something I like. Now, I would probably go to back four in this with this team as well, by the way. I think I would either bench Livramento or Sarr. I'm not too sure. Probably Livramento, actually. I think I'd bench Livramento, and I'd probably start Sarr against Man City at home, and that's how my team would look in game week 16. This would probably be Brian Mbeumo's last game in my team, by the way, guys. This would probably be Mbeumo's last game. I do think after this Bournemouth game, he'll be going to AFCON. So yeah, if we do get news that maybe Mbeumo has to leave slightly earlier, then I can just take him out for Bruno Fernandes. I've got enough money, so that's probably what I will do. But yeah, very, very happy with the way my team looks, really, for game week 16. We've got the squad depth as well, just in case of any, benchings or injuries or anything like that, which is nice. Now, again, with Ismaila Sarr, this is probably his last game in my team as well, because he'll be going off to AFCON, right? So for both Sarr and Mbeumo, it's probably the last games for them in my team. You could actually argue that Ismaila Sarr I could actually take out this week, because if this is his last game in my team, why not just move off Ismaila Sarr and go to a player with an easier fixture like a Kevin Sade, for example? And you know what, to be fair, that could make a bit of sense. Or even maybe like I know I just said I don't want a Liverpool player, but even maybe like a Cody Gakpo who's got Brighton at home, for example, or someone like Kevin Sade, and go double Brentford. Do I want to go double Brentford? I'm not really too sure, to be honest with you guys, but Sade I don't mind as a pick, to be fair. I really don't mind Kevin Sade as a pick, so hey, maybe double Brentford is something I could do. But yeah, maybe I go to Cody Gakpo or Sade. I'm not too sure. That definitely could be a play, but let's just say we do keep Sarr for now, right? In game week 17, what my plan is to do is actually take out Sarr now and actually bring in Minte, right? So this is why maybe I don't take out Sarr for a Sade or for a Gakpo, because instead I wait 1 week and bring in Yacoba Minte. He's got a very, very nice fixture run. Starting off with Sunderland at home, then Arsenal away, which is tough, but after that West Ham away, Burnley at home, City away, but then Bournemouth at home, Fulham away, Everton at home. I just think the fixtures long term are really good for Brighton. But what I like about Minte is the fact that I know he's going to play at this point, right? We're entering a time of fixture congestion, right? So because we're going to the through this December period, I want players who are guaranteed to start, who are guaranteed to get good minutes, right? That is like number one priority at this point, and I think Minte fits that category. Now, Mbeumo's going to go off to AFCON, so I want to just bring in Bruno Fernandes. Simple as that, man. Bruno Fernandes is like the sort of perfect player for this December period. Definitely going to play, definitely going to get 90 minutes on penalties, on set pieces, decent fixtures. He is just the type of player I'm talking about that you want to own through this December period, through this sort of tight fixture run, right? So with that being said, I think Bruno Fernandes is definitely a player I want. I look at the fixtures: Aston Villa away, Newcastle at home. Those two games are, you could argue, are relatively tough, but then after that it's Wolves, Leeds, Burnley. So I don't mind it, right? I don't mind it, and like I said, I know he's going to play all these games, which is why I do want him. And of course, with Bruno, I think you've got multiple routes to points. He's definitely grown on me as a pick. Like I said, he's got open play threat in terms of goals and assists, but he's also got the set piece threat, the penalties, the DEFCON potential as well. I just like him. 90-minute man, starts every single game. Like, yeah, Bruno is definitely the kind of player that I want in my team through this December period. And then also what I was thinking of doing is upgrading Rodon to someone like Van Heck. That is also something I could do. And then I would bench probably Enzo Fernandez, who's got Newcastle away from home, and that's how my team would look in game week 17. And I've only used 3 of the 5 free transfers, which means in game week 18 I've got 3 transfers to use again. But yeah, I really do sort of like this plan, and I don't mind it at all. I think it's a pretty decent plan, to be totally honest with you guys. So yeah, let me know what you guys do think of it. But I think the team right now is in a good place. I think the plan we've got works well. So yeah, I'm very happy with my squad structure at the moment. The only mistake I think I made really was bringing in Virgil van Dijk, to be honest. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, really happy with the way my team looks at the moment. Of course, you know, like I said, this is how my team will look for game week 17. I think it looks good, and long term I think it will look good as well. We got good, you know, we got a deep squad, which I like as well. So yeah, let me know what you guys do think of my current plan. I like it, to be totally honest with you guys. I do like it, and I'm just hoping it can work, man, because we are doing well right now in FPL, which I like, man. I'm feeling good, I'm feeling confident, and hopefully we can continue the good form. But yeah, that is sort of my plan for game week 13 and moving forward. Let me know what you guys think. Smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't. And yeah, man, thank you for the amazing support, guys. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you. But that's going to be it for today's video. It has been your boy FPL Ryan, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, I'm out. Peace.